over here. So today is 26th October 2020, and we'll continue with the problem anagram. Second thing which we'll see the object-oriented JavaScript. We'll see the closures. Third is we completed the project last Friday. The project was login, logout, register, and private route. And today, this one was project 1. And today we will do project 2. So we will kind of have we have login, logout, register, and private route. We will do something new. That is, we will see how to add items in the database, that is parse server. So right now I'm using the parse server, but in future you can use it any database. You can use MySQL. You can use MongoDB directly without parse server. You can use Firebase. Whatever you prefer, you can use. So once we have whole setup ready with parse server, you can use any of other database, whatever you like. Since parse server gives lot of functionality out of box, that's the reason I use the parse server. And it has very many good features, which in this we have to build ourselves. Firebase is also having good feature, but Firebase is little costly and parse server is cheaper. Okay, so let's start with our anagram problem, which we stopped in between on that day. So what we did, we have to build the character map. So if I have two strings, for example, string 1 is A, B, C, C, D. So it has 2C, 1D, 1B, 1A. And if I have another string, for example, D, C, A, C, B. Here also, though the formatting is different, that is, it starts with A, they start with D, but both have 2C, 1A, 1B, 1D. So this is anagram. So I told you that we have to build the character map of the string 1 and string 2. And in the string 1, we'll see how many character A have, how many character B have, how many character C have, how many character D has. Same way, we have to see how many character each one has in the string 2, and both are same. We can assure that it is an anagram. So let's create a function called as mapping, and it will take the string, and it will take the string 1 first, and it will check how many character count each has. Initially, I'll create one object. Okay, and we assume that it does not have any non-numeric character or non-alphanumeric character, that is exclamation something not there, and we'll assume everything is small letter. So that's the assumption. If it is not there, then we can convert it into small letter and we can remove the extra characters. But right now, we assume that it is small letters. Already it is small letter. Now we'll go through let I equal to 0. We go through all the characters of the string, and I'll say I less than string dot length I plus plus. So here I'll say character is equal to a string of I. So if this character will be, first time it will be A, second time B, third time C, fourth time C, five time D. So character is a string. Now I'll check if this object has this character as a key. So I can say if it is not there, object of character. So we will build something like object of A equal to how many characters it has, 1 or 2, whatever it is. So if this object of A does not exist, I can say not object of character else so first I'll check if it is not there. That means I have not created mapping of the A. So I'll create the mapping of the A with count of 1. I'll say object of character equal to 1. Since it is not created, I create it with 1. But if it is already created, we go into the else box. For example, in the C case, first time it will go here, we will create object of C equal to 1. But second time when we go here, it is already created. So we will not go into this if block. We will be in the else block and we'll say whatever object of character it is, we'll say whatever object of character it is, we will add 1. So initially it was 1. Second time when go to the C, it will add 1 more. And in the end, we will return the object. So this is the function we created of character mapping. So this object will be nothing but it will have key of A, B, C and D, and the value of A will be 1, B will be 1, C will be 2 and D will be 1. Similarly, it will be same for 2, and then we'll compare both to see if it is anagram or not. So for example, if I put mapping and I put first character, so you will see we have A of 1, B of 1, C of 2 and D of 1. Similarly, if I create a mapping of this string, it will have D of 1, which is same this, C of 2, B of 1 and A of 1. Since both have same mapping, that means these two are anagram. So now how we will compare? Okay, so I'll write another function, anagram, and here I'll pass string 1 and string 2. And then I will create two objects. Object 1 equal to, I will call the mapping for the string 1, and then I will create another object, object 2 equal to mapping of string 2. So after this line of statement, I have one object this, another object is this. Now we have to loop through one object and match with the second object to see both are same. But before looping through map this one, we have to see the length of this, and this should be length of both the objects should be same. So generally we don't have length for the object, we have length for array only. But we can convert this object to array to get the length. So to convert it, we use kind of this. So generally, I'll open the new one. So I'll show you how I get the length. So if I have object x equal to 1, y equal to 2, for example, this is object. If I say object or length, it doesn't exist. So what we do, we can get the keys and put it in the array, and it has a length. So how to do that? If I say object dot keys of obj, so if I do object dot keys, I convert this object into array, and it has a value of x in it. Keys are here. So at least we can get how many characters are there. So to get the length of this one, we'll say object dot keys dot object dot length. So this will give me 2 because it has 2 elements. So to get the length of the object, we use this statement. So here I will say if object dot keys of object 1 dot length, if it is not equal to object dot keys of object 2 dot length, if the keys are not same, then we return false, that it is not a anagram, because in addition to each mapping, we should have length also same. So the keys of both should be same, otherwise it will not work properly. And then we will go through one of the object and compare it with object 2. So I will say for, so since this is object, I cannot use for loop like this one. Okay, so I have to use for loop in a different way. I will say let character in object 1. Now how this return, this character return? So if I use same thing here, we have the object. If I say for let character in object, since I have object here, I will say for let character in object. Here I can do console.log. Character is, let's do this one. So first time character will be x, so it will go to the key, and then it will go to the key of the second one. So to loop through this object, we use this. So remember, this is the variable which you have created your name, and this is the variable which is the object which we take it, and there is in between these two. Remember in. Now if I want to get this value of 1, how can I go with it? I will use same for loop, and if I want to the value of each time, I can say object of character. That means object of x in the first case, object of y in the first case, and we'll get the value of 1 and 2. Now if I enter this, it's saying character is x, value is 1. Because to get the value, I have to call the original object, and I have to use this key. This is nothing but the key. Okay, so don't consider this as a value. The same thing we can go through in our example. I can use let char in object 1. So I'm going through first one, and then I'll compare it with the 2. So I'll say if object 1 of character. So in the first case, object 1 of the character A is 1. I'll match A with A of this one. So I'll say if it is not equal to object 2 of character. So in the first case, A should match with the A, and if it is matching, it's okay. And if it is not matching, then I'll return false. So first time it will match with A, it is 1. Then it will match B with B, it is 1. Then C, then D. And if all is good, and if any of the object is not matching, we return false. And if everything is good, in the end, we return true. So this way, we check first if both have same length, and then we go through the first object, and then we compare with second object. And then we created this function. Okay, now I'll pass these two strings for the anagram. So string 1 will be this one, and second will be D. What is this? Let's see, DCAC. Second string, and I'll see if it is coming true or false. It is coming true because both have same characters. And if we try same thing with different characters, it will return false. So this is another way. So this is the complex method, and we have seen the easiest method in the anagram 1. That is the first time when we did it. So it's not that you think that in the interview you will go with the easy one and you will not go with the this difficult one. We did difficult one only to understand how to do the things in a different way. Maybe in real world you may not get the problem like this, but you get the idea that we can go to the object, we can create a mapping. So we learn the mapping part here. It is not about the anagram, it is about the mapping part which we learned here. And here we learned how we go through the object and then match it. So it's not about the anagram. You could have done the method 1, the simplest one. That is not my aim. The aim was to understand that mapping, we can do mapping, and then we can look through mapping and do something out of the mapping. So in a real example, when you go for real interview, you may not get anagram, you may get some other problem. But if you get the idea what we are doing, then you can use this idea to implement it. So it's do not consider that you have to learn only the method 1 and method 2 is optional. Method 2 we learn only to understand the concept behind it so that we can use this concept in any other problem. Characters are not sorted. See, D is 1. So character is D is 1, C is 2. Though it looks like you're sorted, but in reality they are not sorted. So one question is whether these are sorted. So this is not sorted. If you see the mapping, real case is this one. D is 1, so it is not sorted. So anyhow, we are comparing A with A. We don't care about the sorting here. We compare B with B. B is here last. Here B is second. So there is no sorting in this problem, and we don't care about sorting because we only care about the keys. Yes, so we are only comparing with the keys. We are not going with the sorting. Oh, first letter is A and A. We are, since I told you character is nothing but key X, Y. It is not the array index. It is the key, and we are comparing the key of this and comparing the key of this with this. Okay, so this one was about the anagram. Let's put this in our JavaScript file. So let me put in the anagram 2. So I first put the mapping one, and then I will put the anagram. So you can go through it again and again, 3-4 times in a day today, so that you understand this concept, and go through the console.log and try to console in each step what you are getting to understand it better. Okay, I put some example. I'll commit this file. You can grab it. So we're done with the anagram. Let's go with the closure, which we started on the day. And we'll see the closure part now. So let's go to the closures. So we have seen, we have some element in the global space. We have the global space. And inside this, let's say if we have the function f, and then inside function f we have the function n. So we have the global space and function f inside it, function n inside it. If I have some variables inside f, global space cannot access those. If I have some variables inside n, global space cannot access this variable inside n. Global space cannot, or function f can also cannot access variables inside the function n. So each one has its own scope, and they can access the variable inside them and the parent function. So what exactly we do in closure? We break the chain of scope. We break the chain of scope with the closure. That is what we do in the closure. So I showed you 4 images. I'll show you again. So let's see the figure 1, image 1 again. Okay, 1 second, let me show the image. One second. So this is the image. You will see this is the global space. Okay, let me write down something about this image. So this okay. So there is a global scope. Think of it as the universe, as if it contains everything. So this global space, think of the universe, it has everything in it, function f, a2, a3, a4, and everything in this global space. Now let's see the image 2. So this is the image 2. It is in the global scope, that is the universe. This round is universe. It has a function f and a variable a. So let's write down this one. It can contain variables such as a and functions such as f. So this image 2 has a variable a. It can have many other variables and many of other functions, but we are considering only the one function. Now let's see the image 3. Here we have the global space, we have the function, we have the a variable, and here in this function it has own private space, and it can use to store another function and a variable inside this f. So we can write functions have their own private functions have their own private space and can use it to store other variables and functions. So you will have the picture like image 3 which we saw just now. Okay, now let's go with the image 4. Okay, let's go with the image 4. So you will understand closure in a short. I'm just going with some theory and we'll see some examples. So just don't try to overthink on closure. Just try to think what I'm trying to say. Here we have the global space, and here we have the function f, and it has the point b inside it. And we have another function, it was inside here in the function f, and this another function can access the b variable because b is in the parent function. But somehow if we bring this n function in the global space, and then also n can access b though it is inside the global space, because of the lexical environment. Lexical environment means variables can access other variable only in its scope. So n was created inside the f, so n can access b because b was in a scope chain of n, and so n was able to access b. But now even after it is moved to the global space, since it was created inside f, so it can access the b though currently it is in the global space. So this process is called the closure, that is when we bring the function from its scope to the global scope so that this function can access other variables inside its scope chain. So it's little complex to say, but it is easy to understand when you see this diagram that n was created inside f, so n can access b, and when we brought n to the global space, though n is now in the global space, it can access b. That is the closure. So here I'm writing, if you are at point A, that is point A, this here, you are inside the global space. If you are at point B is here, which is inside the space of function f. Then you have access to global space and to the f space. Okay, so you have access to global and f space both. So if you are point B, if you're inside function f, you have access of the global space and access of the function f, because f can access the parent space. If you are at point C, which is inside the function n, then you can, so if your point C, which is inside the function f, then you can access b also, you can access a also inside n. You can access the global scope space, the f space and n space. So if you are inside N, you can access C variable, B variable, A variable. If you are inside F, you can access B variable, A variable. If you are inside F, you cannot access C because you cannot access the variables inside the child one. You can only access the variable inside the parent and its own scope. So N can access F and G both. So you cannot reach from A to B. So if you want to try from A to B, you cannot go there because A don't know where is B, who is B is, but B knows who is A because B can access parent, and parent cannot access child. So you cannot reach from A to B because B is invisible outside F. So B is only accessible inside F. B is invisible outside F. You can get from C to B if you want, or from N to B. So this N is inside F, so you can access from N to B. Now, closure happens when somehow N breaks out of F, N breaks out of the F and ends up in the global space. So, if we can break this chain by taking this N from F to the global space, so that now N, though it's still in the global space, it can access B. That is called the closure. This is what we saw yesterday also. I repeated the same thing what I said yesterday. But now how the thing will happen, how this will move from the function F to the global space, that is what we will see the practical of closure with some example how we are moving the function from its space to the global space. That is what we'll do tomorrow, but that is the aim, that we have to move this function from its own space to the global space. Okay, so that is all about closures for today. We'll continue tomorrow to see some example how we are moving this to the global space. So this is all about closures today, and we'll go with the React again. So you go through this closure part also, and Anagram also, try to understand it again and again. When we are done with the closure, then I'll ask you the question if you understood, because closure still I have explained the theory. I have to show you some examples to really understand what closure means. Okay, let's start with the you call it as React one part. Okay, 1 second. So we have finished the project 1 on that day. So now from today till many days, means tomorrow, day after tomorrow, we'll see how to add item, and we'll see a lot of examples of add item in how to add it in the database in the path server. We'll see different kind of form which we will form elements, and we'll add those in the path server. Okay, so that is the aim of today and future. This week, whole week, mostly we'll do the add items. So generally, you need to learn how to add item, how to view items, how to edit items, how to delete items from the past server. That is the aim of first aim of doing any project. So if we take Craigslist, if we take Airbnb, so it has all these four elements, and in addition to this, there are the different looks. So if you go with the Airbnb, the looks are different, but the concept is only these four. If you go with the Craigslist, you see the view in the different format, but it has all these four elements. So you take any website, there is one part is look, which you can build in Bootstrap or Material UI or your own CSS, and then you have to put on top of it, you have to use these four methods to do your tasks. So this is the core of any website. So we'll be doing this four for this whole month. This whole November, we'll be working on this part, and we'll see lot of example how to add, how to view, how to edit, and how to delete it. That's the aim of this task is. Let's go to now our React tab. I already started a past server. I'm starting this React tab. Okay, I have to go inside the client and then start. So if you are working along with me and you are doing the code and you get some problem or difficulty that you are not able to solve, or you are getting some bug which I showed here, it is working but it's not working in your local. So what you have to do, you have to commit your code inside the Git or GitLab. So commit your code, commit and push your code in Git or GitHub or GitLab, and give me permission to access it. Okay, my username is Manish Kanchandani for both the cases, GitHub and GitLab. So you have to give the permission to me, and I'll get your code and I'll see what problem you have done and how to resolve it. So you have to give me the permission and tell me in the chat that you are getting this problem or that problem, so that I can fix that problem and let you know how to fix that problem. So this is the procedure if you want me to take a look on your code. Okay, since it is starting, we'll go through this again. So this is something, okay, let me close it. So let me go through what we did on that day. We created components folder and we created auth inside it, and then we build the auth.jsx where we have the sign up and we have the registration and the login. And I'll not go through into detail of this one. You can watch yesterday's video. Okay, so this is what we did in the auth.js, and we created the project first, and in that we have the home page which will welcome us something. Then we have not found page, we have the CSS, though we did not put anything in the CSS. We have the project one layout. So one project can have multiple layout also, but our project needs only one, so I created one. And then we have the routes, and we have the route with layout. This is the private layout, so that it does not allow the people who are not logged in. And in the route, we take use of this private route, and we tell which project layout we want to use and which component we want to use. This is how we did it on that day. So today we'll go to the project 2. So if you have not understood each part, you can go through yesterday's last lecture and see what exactly each part does. So today I'll delete the route from the project 2. Now, today we'll do project 2. I'll create README file inside each one so that I know what I did in this project. So let me write a README for the project 1. We did login, logout, register, and private route. This was the task for the project 1. Now we'll do the project 2, and I'll copy all these files in project 2. Okay, and in the project, since I'll be copying this all the files, let me delete all first again. Since I'll be creating copying from the previous project many things, so it's better we rename it to not project 1. I'll rename it to project.css, so that though it is in project 1, the name should be the same, so that we should not think that it is only project 1 because we will be copying. Let me rename it to project layout. Okay, in the project layout, I'll rename it to project layout, and I'll call the project.css. Okay, so we will be having the naming as we are not working on project 1, but we can work in any project with the same naming convention. In the route also, I'll change to project and this project layout. Okay, so this one was the change I did now. Okay, let's see if it is working or it's breaking something. Okay, so let's see, it's loading. We'll wait a couple of seconds to see it getting loaded with correct. No errors, with no errors. This is parse server running. So these warnings are there. We will remove this warning later. So because many of the hrefs has hashtag and it does not allow the hashtag, it gives a warning. So it will remove those warning. Let's remove it now. Right now, if you see this auth.js, you see this hash sign. So React does not want this hash sign, so we have to replace this hash sign with, right now I'll replace with slash so that I should not see the warnings. So also remember when I build this auth.js, there is a space after the classes, after this single quote, I have space and then we have the right panel active. If you don't put this space, your CSS will not work. Okay, let's now see. Still loading. Okay, so I'm getting project 1 correctly. I can log out and log back in. So this is working fine. Now I will copy all the files from the project 1 to project 2. I think another question someone asked in chatting, I am not 100% sure of the meaning of that question, but I think he asked me matching props. Let me read the question. Where all the places we have to pass the matching props. Matching props comes only in this private layout. And if your layout uses something of matching props, then we will pass it here. If your layout does not use this matching props, then we can remove this in the layout. We can only pass in the component. So this matching props has the history, history parameter, location parameter, which is useful in many of the redirect and many of the use cases. So if you are using something in the layout, then only you will pass in the layout. Otherwise, you can skip this one. And I think this is he was asking, but if you have another question, you can ask again. Someone in the chatting has sent the video. I don't know why he sent the video. I don't know why this video is sent in the chatting in the group. I don't know what he wants to show. Okay, so let's go through this one again. So we copied in the project 2, and in the project 2 layout, I can say that's a project 2. Now, I will go into the app.js and I'll change this route to project 2. The rest everything will be same. Okay, so we are calling now route from project 2. So whenever I run the application, it will be from project 2, not from the project 1. So let's go and see now. So now you see it is project 2. Though the URL same, now we are completely inside the project 2. We don't have any trace of project 1. Okay, so this one is a project 2. Okay, we'll start with a new file in a second. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so we are in the project 2 now by just changing the folder name in the app.js. Okay, we don't need project 2 layout now. It's a dummy project. We just did it to show that something is there. So we have the widgets folder. Now the aim of the project 2. Let me write down what we are trying to achieve in project 2. We are trying to achieve a simple text box, one text box, only one, and insert it in the parse database, parse server. So we will go by simple and go make it more complex and complex. So first, this aim of this project is only to create one text box and insert it into the parse server. That is the aim of this project. So we will create one file called as add.jsx. Since we are adding, we need the add.jsx. Here I will okay, so I created the template. So I'll do some import. I'll use import parse from parse. We need to import the parse from parse. I'll import my alert, which we build on that day, from utils my alert. I will import loading from utils and loading. Okay, what else I should import? Okay, let's import form and button. These are from the React Bootstrap. Okay, I will also build. I have already built long back one common input.jsx file. If anyone remember, if he was attending that class, I will do it again inside the widgets. I will be creating input.jsx file. This is nothing but whenever I want to call the text box, I will use this component and I'll call this component. So I will build this part also now. For any input, we will call this one. So I want to call import input from. So whenever we have the text box, I will call this input, and I will not write down input type equal to text and all, because a lot of things are handled inside this input. So I'll call this input one. Okay, so this is my loading, initial loading. Okay, let's build something here. Okay, so I have div tag. I will create a form tag. I can use simple HTML form also, but I'm using Bootstrap form. What is this one? This form. All the custom components have the capital letter F. If I want to use HTML input form, I would have used small letter FORM, that is normal HTML form. But since I'm using React Bootstrap, it is capital letter form. Now, I will call this input one. Since I'm on the text box, I'll call this input one. So let me call the input component. And then I will call this button one, that is when the form is submitted. Submit. Right now I just created a simple structure. Let's see how it looks. Since I'll be going to this add.jsx, I have to add the add.jsx in the routing. So I'll go to the routing and add this path. I'll copy this home path and rename it to add. I'll also copy this route path and add. Your path will be add. Okay, so I did in the routing the add path. And I'll go to the home page where I have a logout link. I will add one more link to our add page. Okay, so this home page is done. Let's check now in the browser. So we have the project 2. I have add and log out. Now my purpose is to show you how the add functionality. So I'm not making the looks of the project 2 to some kind of website, some Bootstrap. I just put simple text for now. But when we will make it little professional, we'll put some template and make it something different. I'll go to add. But this I don't like. It is touching on the left side. So let me fix this part. Only this part. Maybe I can say I'll go to project layout. I'll put everything inside the container so that it should have some margins. So now see, it has got some margin. Now we have the add page where we have the input box and we have the submit button. Okay, so this is my add page. Let me call it as add page. So we have the add page now. Let's build the input box now so that we have some input. Okay, so let me build the input so that I can see the input now. Here also I'll import some statement. I'll import form from React Bootstrap. Okay. So this is fine. So if we go to the React Bootstrap page, okay, let me go to React Bootstrap. I have something called as, this part. I'll copy this part. I'll copy this part and paste it there with this part. So instead of div input, I'll copy what I got from there. This control ID will be the name which will come from the previous page. So I'll say props.name and props will come here inside here. Everyone knows props is what props are, and we will get this props from the previous page. So this control ID will be the props.name. Then this is something kind of title. Okay, this form.label, something is a title. So I will also pass the props.title here. Next is this form control. Type will be, I will also pass the type from the previous page. So I can say props.type. It can be text, it can be email, it can be number, whatever I want I can give. And here placeholder, I will also call from the previous page. I'll say props.placeholder. And I will also have name for this field. I'll say props.name. I will also have the value of this one. I'll say props.value. I will also have on change behavior. I will say props.handle change. Okay. And this is something addition text. I can think it as a description. I will say props.description. Okay, something like this. And I'll put some conditional that if title is available, then only show this part. So to make it conditional, I will start with the curly bracket and I'll say props.title and ampersand and. When I put two ampersand, that means if this is present, then only I have to show this one. I'll cut it and paste it here. So that this line means if this is existed, then only show the title. Otherwise, don't show the title. Same thing I'll do with the description. If description exists, then only show this part. So here I'll say, if description is there, then only show this additional text. Okay, so we are passing. So what we are trying to pass. So now if I have to call the input box, I'll just put in the comment how to call the input. First will be, so if I'm calling from the add, I can write the first import statement, import input from, I'll give the path, whatever path will be there. So generally it is 2 times back and widgets. So this is the path generally I have to give. Sorry. And how will I call the input box? So I will write down something like this, input. We'll call like input, and then I will give each one maybe name equal to XYZ, title equal to XYZ, placeholder equal to XYZ, and what else? We need type. So type equal to text. Generally we have the text field, so we will put text one, and value. So we'll set the value also. Value will be generally we have the form. Some kind of form dot name, something like that. We'll pass the value, and then we have the on change, that is handle change. Handle change will be, I create handle change another function in the parent, and I'll use that one. Okay, so this is how I call it. Any other thing remaining? Description. If I want to pass the description, I can pass description also. So this is the way I will call in any of my add page to show this input box. So let's try to use this input box like this. So instead of normal input, I will call input like this. Right now I'm putting XYZ, which I'll change it to something, to meaningful. So F is not defined right now. F is not defined. It's saying right now. Let's put it some value just for, and I'll put any function for now. Then I'll make real function later. Okay, let's take now. So you will see this XYZ is the title. This title. And then we have the input box, which has placeholder XYZ, and name is also XYZ. So name is also XYZ. Okay, so this is the form which we build. Let's give some styling to this one. We can use the CSS also, but since it is one, I can put style directly, inline style here. You can put in CSS also. If something is really common, again and again it is coming, I'll put it in the CSS, but right now I am okay with putting inline CSS. I'll say font weight equal to bold, and I'll say margin top equal to 10 pixel. So I give some styling to this one so that it looks little, yeah, so it looks little darker. Okay, now I'll give some meaningful name here. So this type is text. Placeholder will be enter title, and this title will be title. So my field name is title. and I want to say title, put something, just I want to put some name, and value will be some form value, which I will do it now in a minute. Description, I don't need description for this, I'll delete it. So now I have title and enter title. Let's create some state variables to fix this value and this value. So I'll create few state variables. So here are the variables. First variable I'll create is the table name. So this table name will be the name of the table where I want to insert my data inside it. So generally this can go into the configuration file, or it can go anywhere, or you can hard code in this page also. It's up to you. So I can say testing add one. Since we are doing add a project, I just create a table called as testing add one. This will be name of the table which we create in the parse server. And I will call the constant of form values and set form values. This is the object where I will take all the field value in the page. I'll say use state. And here I want to pass the initial data for this form value. So let's create an initial data object which will be used in the page. So I will be having title of empty. So initially I have title. It has the empty string in it. So I'll take this initial string and use it in the form values. So initially title will be empty string. I will also create few more variables for me to track. I will create error, set error, initially error will be null. I will also create the loading and set loading equal to react.useState. Initially loading will be the false. This loading will be used when we send the data to the backend server. It takes little time to come back the result. So we'll show the loading icon till we get the result. Now I will create another function called as handle change. So this will be called whenever there is change inside the input box. It will take the parameter e, and then I will say we have to write e.parses. Since we have this object, whenever we have some object and we want to object the few fields of the object, it does not, the HTML does not, HTML with React is not able to keep the values. So we have to use e.parses. And then I will call set form, this one, set form values. This everyone knows. If you don't understand this, then let me know. We have done this multiple times, and I'll just repeat in short. The set form, whatever I pass it here, it is set for the form values. So whenever something will come from the input box, we are updating the form value, and inside the form value we are updating the title. So how to do this set form value? I will write the arrow function, and whatever we return from the arrow function will be set in the form values. And the initial value of this one will be nothing but the current value of this form value. So whatever I am putting, for example, I am putting FV, this FV will have the current value of form values. We have to take the current value of the form value and update with the new value which user has put for the handle change, and return the FV and return the object so that this new form value will be updated with the new value. So how to do that? I will return an object. This object will have current value, that is, I'll use 3.fv spread operator. So this is the fv. We are using the current value of this fv. And what we want to change it? We want to change the title. So title will come in the form of e.target.name, and value will be e.target.value. Right now, instead of writing this whole thing, I could have directly written as title because we have only one field here, title. But this function I'm not creating only for this page. We may have multiple fields also. Right now it is only one field, so I can put title as a hard-coded value. But later on, we may have more fields, so we need some generic one so that we can use it, whatever name it is coming. So for the first case, name is the title. So it will set title equal to whatever value has typed it. And I'll do just console.log of form values to see what the form value is there. So whenever we update, we want to see how the form values are reflecting. And I'll use this handle change inside this handle change function. And for the value, I'll say form values dot title. So initially this will be empty like this, but whenever user types something, we call this handle change function, and this handle change will take the previous value, that is this one, and update the title with the new value which user has put. Let's see this in action. So here I'll open the console.log. So right now you will see form value is empty, right? So we don't have any value. As soon as I type hello, so we get the form value of hello world. Okay, so we get the form value of type equal to hello world. When I click the submit button, I should submit this title to the backend database that is here. Right now I don't have any table created except these three. Once I click submit, since there is no table, but when I click submit, the table will be created and data will be inserted. But if its table is there, then it will directly insert this thing into the table. Let's finish this thing off. Though we have to do some finishing touch tomorrow. So when I click this form, I'll call one function. On submit, I'll call a function handle submit. So I'll create another function called as handle submit. This will be going data to the parse server, so I'll make it async. So when I use async in front, it is asynchronous call. And here we get E. Whenever you use async, you should always use try/block. Put error. Okay, so this one is the try block. Your first statement will be to prevent default, so that form should not reload the page. So I use the e.prevent default. And then here I have to submit the form to the parse server. So first thing, I will create the user who is submitting the form. So I'll say user equal to parse.user.current. So this value will be the current user who is logged in. So parse gives the out-of-box function to know who is logged in. Then I have to create a variable. Let's say I name it as post. And I will use parse.object.extend. And I have to give the table name. So what is the table name I have chosen? This is the table name. So I'll use the table name. So see how we are posting into the parse server. So we use this parse.object.extend and put the table name. Whatever table name will be there, it will be created if it is not there, and if it is there, it insert data into there. Then I have to use another variable. Here I will use small post. So here I have capital post. Here I have small post. This small one will call new post. That is new of this post. Okay. So these two lines are needed for whenever we insert anything or update anything. So we have the new post. Update needs some little twist on this line, but this line is common. Now, whatever field I want to set, I will use the set method of the post. So I will say post.set. Since I want title, I have title only here. I'll use title. And I'll say form values dot title. So whatever user has put in the form values, I use it here. I also want to save the user who is submitting the information. So I will create another set with the user and I'll put this user so that I should know who has created this post. Once I'm done with these 2 lines of statement, if we have many key fields, I will write down this multiple times. Title, description, name, age, gender. I will add more and more. I will copy this line and paste it again and again, which we will see in project 2, project 3, next project, how to add multiple fields. But you can add this line multiple times to add multiple fields. Now I'll use await post.save. Once you are setting the things, you have to save the things on the path server. Okay, once it is saved, you are done. That means it is saved in the path server. Let's see it in action. Though we have to finish touch this part, which we will do tomorrow, but at least this is the basic functionality which is used to insert any data in the path server. So let me refresh and I'll show you. So first title I will put, let's say, hello world, and I submit it. Though we did not give any confirmation here or anywhere, but since I have written the code, it should be in the path server now. We will give confirmation tomorrow. I'll write the code to do that. It's not there, so something is missing. We are not done properly. Let's check it. So on the submit, I call the handle submit. Let's do some console.log to see if we are doing correctly. Okay, let's take this one after save. Okay, let's take this one. Okay, now I will try to put some title and then I'll submit. So after clicking submit, nothing happens. Maybe this button is not working. So maybe I can say type equal to submit. It's not submitting the data. Hello world. Okay, now I click submit. Okay, now I see the post and it has the ID of this one and it has attributes. In the attribute I can see title of hello world and we have the user who is the logged in user. And now if I refresh the page, so I see the testing ad one is created, you can see, and it has one record in it. And it has title of hello world and user who is the logged in user, and this is one is the user who has inserted the data. Okay, so we get the user also who has inserted the data, we get the title. And if you see the ACL means the permissions, and if I open this ACL, you will see public has read and write. So that means though it is created by this user, it can be deleted or edited by any user because it has permission of read and write. Tomorrow we'll fix it so that only the user who has created this post can delete it and public can read it. So the person who has created, he should only delete it, not any other person. So we'll fix the ACL part also, and we'll do something, because just now I just click submit and it insert into the database. So we should show some loading icon and we should show some confirmation that it is inserted or something, some message, or we redirect it to home page, something like that. We'll do tomorrow that part. So basic thing is done. We are able to insert into the database, but a lot of finishing touch is needed for this one.